The bounty said he was slow, unshaven, unhinged. That he smelled like regret and gun oil. That he only carried a crowbar and a bad attitude. And that killing him would be easy credits. Then we lost an entire battalion, 3 fleets, 2 warlords cried on stream, and now I'm sending this message from inside a trash can, because I'm afraid of the trees. Don't take human contracts. Don't take the red line. They called it a routine cleanup. A bounty posted anonymously on a secure guild net. High-value target, human male, mid-40s. Alleged war criminal. Last known location, Jungle Moon Karnak 7. The payout? Enough credits to buy a sovereign asteroid and the loyalty of 3 pirate fleets. Kara's void burner skimmed the contract details with mild amusement. A lone human? On a derelict moon? Easy. Deploy the Draker scouts, he growled, voice sizzling through molten teeth. Make it clean. Send me his head in a bucket. The Mockin fangs mobilized with military precision. Drop pods screamed through the atmosphere like divine wrath. Armored assassins touched down, weapons synced, comms buzzing. Then silence. Minutes passed. Then static. Then, wait, I see some tea. Followed by a wet crunch and a feedback squeal so sharp it made hardened killers flinch. Then a second voice. Human. Casual. Cheerful. Oh good, you brought toys. I get bored. Karaza's molten claws flexed. Send the silt burners. Level the tree line. Burn it all. The second squad made contact an hour later. They encountered no resistance. No structures. No human. Just a tattered cardboard cutout of a middle finger propped on a rusted drone casing. Motion-triggered audio. Hello, you've reached Riggy's voicemail. If you're hearing this, you've already screwed up. Try again. The jungle detonated in a ring of kinetic mines and reverse grav pulleys. Bodies flung skyward like confetti. Surveillance feeds caught one Dracorian screaming in horror as he was dragged backwards into a porta-crater rigged to resemble a human toilet. Karaz slammed his fist against the command panel. Send the flamethrowers. I want that jungle crying. Hours later, the forest burned, but the only thing they found was a single boot hanging from a vine. Stuffed inside, a voice recorder played. You call that an assault squad? My grandma's bridge club was harder to kill. By now, whispers rippled through the merc ranks. Rig Thorn. The name surfaced in hushed tones, traced back to Earth's special forces. The red lines. Off the books nightmare fuel. There were no confirmed images. Just rumors. That he once dismantled a dreadnought with duct tape and bitter sarcasm. That he hacked a mercenary warbot to perform slam poetry until it self-destructed. That he'd been court-martialed for psychologically breaking an entire enemy battalion using only children's show jingles and caffeine deprivation. Karaz scoffed. Superstition. He deployed the heavy hitters. Biomechs, neuroscramblers, plasma juggernauts with auto-targeting. Full orbital surveillance. A blanket lockdown of the moon's surface. They caught movement. Tracked it. It was a goat. Wearing a human helmet. With a sign around its neck that read, Nice try. The neuroscramblers began to malfunction. One turned on its handler. Another reported a low-frequency laughter loop in its auditory channels. They traced the source to a crash vending machine jury-rigged with a subharmonic destabilizer and a sticky note that read, Don't trust the cheese puffs. Then came the psychological warfare. The mercs began dreaming. Waking up screaming. Hearing Earth nursery rhymes whispered in languages they didn't understand. Seeing shadows that looked like humans, moving just out of reach. One squad leader begged extraction after carving Rig is God into his own chest plate. Karaz ordered him executed for cowardice. That night, Karaz awoke to find his ship's bridge had been completely repainted. In blood-red stencil the words, Welcome to Riggyland. The comms lit up with distress calls. One squad had walked into a clearing and found their own wanted posters nailed to trees, each with a countdown timer and the words, Smile, you're live. Another discovered their weapons replaced with inflatable pool toys. The forest canopy displayed a hologram of Karaz's worst military blunders on loop, annotated with sarcastic commentary and cartoon sound effects. Then, finally, Rig spoke. Open channel. Crystal clear. Hey Karaz. It's Riggy. You know, I was really hoping you'd be smarter. But I guess if your brain was any smaller, you'd have to water it twice a day. Karaz roared, his molten saliva sizzling on the deck. Show yourself, human! Sure, Rig replied. Just look behind you. Karaz spun, claws raised, but found nothing. Just an empty hallway. He froze. Then his own voice crackled over the intercom. Not yelling. Whimpering. I don't want to die in a bucket. Karaz stared at the console in horror. What did you get that recording? Oh, I made it just now. Your internal thoughts are louder than your weapons. Suddenly, all displays shut down. Emergency lights. Sirens. The entire fleet darkened. Then music. Disco. Volume escalating. I will survive, hey hey. Mercenaries across the moon began to retreat. Some fired blindly. Others ripped off helmets, screaming about invisible children, about mirrors that lied. One tried to claw his way into the dirt, sobbing. The vending machine knew my name. Karaz launched an orbital bombardment. Nothing. Except another message broadcast on repeat. You thought it was war. I thought it was Tuesday. Karaz, broken and trembling, finally authorized full withdrawal. Survivors barely numbered in the dozens. Each escape pod was tagged with a different phrase burned into its hull. Psyche Val required. Property of Riggyland. Do not trust the ferns. The contract was voided. Back on the guild net, mercenary forums erupted in chaos. Videos, horror stories, conspiracy threads. One guild master cancelled all human bounties and issued a formal apology to Earth. Karaz vanished. Some say he still hears disco. As for Rig? No one saw him leave. No one ever does. But across the galaxy, new graffiti started showing up. Don't take human contracts. Never fight the red lines. And scrawled in crude red across a destroyed Merc outpost wall. Thanks for visiting. Come back never. The silence was worse than the screams. Every Merc still breathing had gone to encrypted channel Theta 7. It wasn't for strategy. It was where they could weep, vomit, and confess to gods they never believed in without it being recorded. Karaz listened to them all. Commander, the trees are watching us. They're not trees. I swear the clouds were whispering my name. There's something in my helmet. I can hear my mother's voice and she's angry. He terminated the channel. Deploy all remaining squads. I want the jungle cord. Burn it. Salt it. Flatten it. The comms officer hesitated. Sir, they won't move. They say. Karaz didn't let him finish. His molten gauntlet crushed the console in front of him. Then I'll go down myself. He did. He stomped down from orbit, flanked by his personal guards. 12-foot bioarmored killbeasts grown in high-gravity pits, each with a dozen kills and no recorded defeats. Every one of them vanished in under 4 minutes. The last one sent back a video. It showed him standing alone in a misty glade, shivering. A human voice whispered, "Tell me what you're afraid of." And the mercenary exploded from the inside out. No weapon. No wound. Just implosion. Karaz roared until his vocal cords bled. The sky opened with a sudden crackle. Then Rig Thorne's voice again. Calm. Cold. And very, very close. Karaz. You ever have a dream where all your teeth fall out, and you're naked in a job interview with your ex watching? Karaz spun, plasma cannon raised. That's today. Flashes of movement darted through the jungle. Not soldiers, reflections, shadows, memories. His own voice screaming things he hadn't said yet. Overhead, satellites warped and spiraled out of control. One plummeted and cratered into the treeline like a warning shot from karma itself. Karaz activated all failsafes. Full body armor. Adaptive HUD. Neural dampeners. Still, he heard them. Riggs' footsteps, except they came from inside his skull, marching up his spinal column with rhythm. The Merc leader finally saw him. Standing on a tree limb. No armor. No helmet. No visible weapons. Just a stained human tank top, a grin, and a steel crowbar slung across his shoulder like it was made of air. You! Karaz snarled. Me! Rigg agreed. You set this up. Obviously. Karaz's plasma cannon whined, charging to lethal. Do you know how many men you've killed? Rigg glanced at a datapad. Personally? None. You all did that to yourselves. I'm just here for the art direction. Karaz fired. The beam split midair and curved around Rigg like it hit gravity gone wrong. It fried 2 of his own guards hidden in the bushes behind him. The heat didn't even touch the tree. Rigg rolled his shoulders. Hate when physics plays favorites. Karaz charged, howling, claws drawn. The next moment, he was hanging upside down from a tree by his ankles, armor half melted, a raccoon chewing on his boots. Your tactics are crude. Karaz spat. Yeah. Rigg nodded, flipping through a tattered notebook. But see, I don't need to win. I just need everyone watching to think you lost. You humans are unhinged. Bingo. And that's why you can't beat us. You train for combat. We train in chaos. You're a blade. We're a blender. Karaz triggered his internal suicide failsafe. Better dead than a public defeat. Nothing happened. Oh yeah, Rigg said, crouching beside him, chewing on what looked like a space Twizzler. About that. Your failsafe now activates your ship's karaoke protocol. You're welcome. Above, the orbiting cruiser began blaring a high-fidelity recording of Karaz singing Sweet Galactic Baby from a private karaoke night 5 years ago. On loop. To all open mercenary channels. And every interstellar news relay. Karaz wept. Rigg didn't gloat. He just tapped his earpiece. Phase 3 complete. Tag the survivors and let 'em run. They'll tell the rest. A voice on the other end replied. All mercenary guilds are scrambling. They're broadcasting warnings about you now. Want us to confirm? Rigg wiped his crowbar clean on Karaz's cape. Nah. They'll confirm it themselves next time someone says redline. Karaz looked up, blinking past the blood. Why? Why this? Rigg stood. Because you hunted humans like we were sport. You sold our colonies to warlords. You trafficked our kids. You called it business. We call it cause. Karaz choked on his own breath. And Earth sanctioned this? Oh no, Rigg smiled. Earth has no idea. They think I'm dead. This is personal. Karaz's screams echoed through the jungle as Rigg vanished into the mist. Later, on guild forums, survivors would post warnings. Do not engage human special forces. Do not accept contracts related to Earth. And one message, pinned and repeated 1,000 times across every bounty hunter network. If the job mentions a crowbar, run. The guilds called an emergency summit before the sun rose over Karnak 7. 15 mercenary leaders, scarred, battle-hardened, biologically enhanced killers, sat in orbit, trembling behind reinforced holograms. Karaz hadn't returned. Half their squads were missing. The jungle moon had become a haunted legend in real time. Shut it down, said Voshur, leader of the wretched glass. His voice shook. Void the bounty. Wipe the records. The contract's locked, spat Vendrax of the blistered knives. Walk away and we lose every shred of reputation. We already lost our minds, hissed Drell the Carver, who hadn't stopped twitching since his last drop. He's not even fighting. He's playing. Before anyone else could speak, the feed shorted, and all 15 leaders were forced into a shared channel. No one pressed a button. Then came the voice. Hey, buddies. Conference call without me? Rude. They froze. Each of them had sealed, encrypted networks. This wasn't possible. Rig Thorne's voice echoed through the vacuum like static dipped in sarcasm. Look at you! All dressed up, nowhere to go, still trying to figure out if this is a war or a nervous breakdown. Vendrax bellowed. You're a single human! Rig chuckled. Damn right. One. And I still made your best drop troopers wet themselves and request early retirement. Y'all should be billing me for therapy, not trying to kill me. Though SHR tried to cut the feed. The button screamed, denied, in his native tongue. Rig continued. You boys love contracts, yeah? Love rules. Protocols. You've built an entire economy around blowing each other up on schedule. But you forgot what humans are made of. Desperation? Someone muttered. No, said Rig, voice going cold. Adaptation. You expect enemies. We become problems. Drell's screen exploded into static. When it returned, a live feed showed Drell's flagship spiraling out of orbit. The words, Redline compliant, blinked across his navigation screen. He screamed. Then he laughed. Then he begged. The feed cut. Vendrax stood up. Enough of this. This is digital manipulation. Psychological posturing. Rig replied. That's the point. You came here for blood. I gave you narrative. You wanted combat. I gave you consequence. The conference disbanded in chaos. Back on Karnak 7, Rig watched the skies flicker with retreat signals. He lowered the field jammer and pulled a hardwired panel from an old crash pod. Another voice crackled on. You enjoying yourself? Could have used more sarcasm. He muttered. Phase 4 ready? Affirmative. Broadcast net is open. Galactic Dark Zone channels hot. Rig exhaled. Send it. From every hacked relay, every black market drone, every forgotten node in the voidnet, a single video file transmitted. No password. No firewall. Just a simple name. Redline Protocol, full disclosure. The footage began with a static drone view of the Mawkin Fangs arriving on Karnak 7. Then a highlight reel, mercenaries panicking, hallucinating, crying, turning on each other, fleeing in terror from inanimate objects. Intercut between them, footage of Rig walking calmly through the jungle, crowbar in one hand, coffee thermos in the other. Then a voiceover. This isn't a war story. This is a warning. The galaxy watched. In trading stations, outpost bars, fleet decks, brothels, and military war rooms, mercenaries and diplomats alike stared in stunned silence. They watched as Rig explained the trap, the fake bounty, the psychological warfare laced into terrain, the forced paranoia, the manipulated environments designed not to kill, but to teach. They watched him reveal his true mission. This is not revenge. It's not sanctioned. It's a message. You touch Earth again, I won't come for your fleet. I'll come for your faith. I will make every hired killer question if they're really holding a gun, or just playing along in my story. There was no music. No credits. Just a final frame. Rig staring into the drone, smirking. Humans don't fight clean. We don't fight fair. We fight forever. When the file ended, mercenary contracts across the galaxy were cancelled en masse. Thousands of bounties on humans vanished. Entire blacklists rewrote themselves in real time. Syndicates deleted Earth from targeting indexes. Forums began tagging Redline as a Level 9 emergency threat. And back in the jungle, a soft chirp pinged Rig's earpiece. You've made an impression, said the handler. I usually do. They want to know if you're available for future deterrence missions. I'm on vacation. You just took down half the Outer Rim's Merc network. I needed exercise. Silence. Then the voice said, There's a council envoy en route. They want to negotiate. Rig took a sip from his thermos. Tell them to bring snacks. And if they ask what you want in return? He watched a retreating ship spiral out of visual range, leaving only smoke and shame behind. Simple. I want them to remember. He shut off the feed. A final message uploaded to mercenary relay towers an hour later. Text only. No signature. The red line is not a unit. It's a consequence. The Malkin flagship limped through the void, its hull bleeding plasma and its crew whispering in fractured silence. Karaz was alive, barely, his once glorious armor scorched and smeared with soot. He sat in the command throne with a fractured breathing mask, a blanket over his shoulders, and fear he no longer had the pride to hide. The bounty had been rescinded. The contract archive scrubbed clean. Every guild was in retreat, but no one was celebrating. In the silence of defeat, a new signal broke through the fleet-wide block. One word. Encore. It wasn't a voice this time. No message. No taunt. Just a file that autoplayed across every open mercenary channel. A feed. Live. The image, a camera panning slowly across a massive, glowing crater in the Karnix jungle. In its center, standing atop a broken Merc dropship, Rigthorn. No armor. No backup. Just that ridiculous crowbar slung across his back and a pair of aviators that looked 50 years out of date. A swarm of hovering drones circled above him, broadcasting his image in perfect resolution to thousands of systems simultaneously. He raised one hand. "Hi," he said, grinning like a maniac. "I'm Rig. I used to be one of those unpredictable special forces guys Earth quietly disavows. Now I'm what happens when you push humanity too far and don't kill us fast enough." The camera zoomed in. "You wanted a clean war. You wanted order. I gave you theater. I gave you chaos. Because humans? We don't do clean. We are messy. Loud. Emotional. Desperate. And worst of all, impossibly, horrifyingly adaptable. You can't predict us. You can't condition us. You sure as hell can't contract kill us. We don't play by the book. We write sequels in blood." He paused, then dropped the grin. "You all keep asking why mercenaries should stop accepting human bounties. So let me answer that as clearly as possible." He pointed toward the drone swarm. "You've been watching me alone. Fighting. Sabotaging. Tormenting. But I'm not alone." The camera panned. From the trees, hills, craters, and underbrush emerged other figures. Hundreds of them. Human. Camouflaged. Silent. All of them watching, all of them still. "They're red lines," said Rig. "Every last one of them. Thought we were myths? Nah. We've just been waiting. Earth pulled us back not because we lost. Because we scared them, too." The signal grew distorted. The feed stuttered, then resumed with a new angle. Rig, surrounded by red lines, holding up a data slate. "We've logged everything," he said. "Guild crimes. War profiteering. Civilian exploitation. Alien trafficking. Every dirty deal you made while Earth played nice. Now we're sending it all, across the galaxy. Unfiltered. To every pirate lord, trader, diplomat, and bounty hunter with a conscience or a grudge." The drones scattered. In real time, secure networks broke apart. Credit links exploded. Blacklists rearranged. Mercenary guilds started getting hit with investigations, embargoes, mutinies. Alliances fell apart in the span of minutes. Rig's voice returned, this time layered with fury. "You don't fear us because we're stronger. You fear us because we never stop. Because when you beat a human, we learn. When you kill a human, another takes their place. When you break a human?" He stepped forward. "We laugh. And we rebuild ourselves out of the wreckage. Sharper. Meaner. And more pissed off." Behind him, one of the red lines casually tossed a crate onto the ship wreckage. It popped open to reveal a blinking device. "Message incoming," Rig announced. "This one's for the Council." He tapped his wrist pad. A beacon flared. Orbiting satellites aligned. A transmission was broadcast across all galactic news networks. Counselors. Warlords. Mercenary kings. Everyone saw it. Rig Thorn, crowbar in hand, sunglasses glinting in the sun, grinning like the universe's worst nightmare made flesh. "This was a deterrent," he said. "Imagine what we'll do when we're angry. The feed cut. Panic swept through the galaxy. In the Mockin fleet, Karaz collapsed to his knees. He finally understood. It had never been about a bounty. Never about revenge. It was about fear. Not the fear you get from strength or numbers. The kind that comes when you realize someone doesn't care if they die, as long as they take your legacy with them. The red lines vanished that day. No trace. No signals. Just legends. But across space, guilds posted new policies. No human bounties. No Earth contracts. Not worth the risk. The Council issued a statement calling for peace. An apology. Earth never responded. They didn't need to. Because the galaxy now lived with a new warning. Spoken in bars, whispered in bunkers, painted across merc ships in jagged red letters. Do not take the crowbar contracts. And below it, sometimes scrawled in trembling alien hands. The red line isn't real. But it doesn't matter. Because he is. Back on Karnak 7, Rig stood in the ruins, sipping from a dented thermos. A red line approached. What now? Rig smiled. We wait. For what? He took another sip, eyes on the horizon. For the next idiot who forgets why we're feared. The Council called it a containment exercise. Publicly, they blamed Mercenary overreach. Privately, they whispered the name Rig Thorn like a curse, each syllable dipped in panic. Behind closed doors, diplomats argued over new protocols. Intelligence directors screamed into red-lit conference rooms. Fleet admirals demanded clarification on whether Earth's special forces had gone rogue. Earth's official response, static. The red line files, now decrypted and shared by 100 different networks, painted a picture of catastrophic overconfidence. Not just a man, not just a team, but an entire ideology, the idea that human unpredictability was a weapon in itself. Rig hadn't simply defeated the mercenaries. He'd turned the idea of hiring killers against humanity into a galactic taboo. In a dim holochamber, Counselor Velthrak of the Volari Imperium reviewed the transmission again. Rig, crowbar in hand, that impossible smirk plastered across his human face, had ended the video with a single, unforgettable line. You want clean wars. We are the dirt under your fingernails. Velthrak blinked slowly. Initiate fallback contingency. No further engagement with human combatants. Yes, Counselor, the aide replied. And issue a standing alert. Velthrak added. If any mercenary accepts a contract on Earth interests, label it a self-termination protocol. Across the galaxy, the fallout spread like viral ash. Mercenary guilds fractured under the weight of fear. Entire fleets disbanded without orders. Veteran killers retired overnight. Red-line graffiti appeared in the most secure sectors of space. You are not prepared, was etched into ship hulls and trading posts, accompanied by crude drawings of a man wielding a crowbar and a coffee cup. But the man himself? He was gone. Karnak 7's atmosphere scrubbed clean. No trace of redline presence. No heat signatures, no movement, no ships leaving orbit. As if they had never been there. Which only made it worse. They were now phantoms. Nightmares. A myth born in real time. Some said Rig died in the final crater, content with the chaos he'd sown. Others swore he was alive, hiding in plain sight on some fringe colony, sipping stale coffee and waiting for the next contract to slip through the cracks. Only one person knew the truth. Rig watched the Council broadcast from a pirate station orbiting an unlisted moon, his boots on the control panel, crowbar laid across his lap. The feed looped again, Velthrak giving his cold, rehearsed apology, trying to stitch dignity over failure. Rig exhaled through his nose. Took them long enough. Behind him, a familiar voice broke the silence. You sure this is how you want to end it? Rig didn't turn. It's not about how it ends. It's about what they remember. They'll remember, the voice said. But you've made us a threat. A real one. Next time Earth calls, it won't be deniable. Rig reached for the thermos. Let them call. We'll answer. A pause, then a low laugh. You always were the loud one. No, Rig said. I'm the first one. The others? They're louder. I was the soft intro. Just a reminder. The voice stepped closer. What if they come for us? Rig grinned. They already did. And they failed. A soft beep interrupted them. A new signal. Not from Earth. From somewhere else. Small. Obscure. A private contractor. The message flashed across the console. Requesting redline response. Unauthorized human trafficking on Golaris 4. No council oversight. Immediate assistance required. The voice behind him raised an eyebrow. You going to take it? Rig drained the last of the thermos, stood, and slung the crowbar over his back. No, he said, eyes locked on the screen. We all are. The transmission was routed. 12 red lines confirmed. 2 squads en route. No insignias. No flags. No proof. Just fear. And a crowbar. Hours later, on Golaris 4, the skies screamed open. The mercenaries holding the colony never saw them land. No announcements. No grand entrance. Just signal jammers, sudden darkness, and the whisper of footsteps that never echoed twice. By the time planetary control called for help, the response was simple. Too late. One final broadcast emerged across the black market networks, pinned to the command center door of a dissolved Merc outpost. Scrawled in dripping red paint, no signature, just 5 words. Never again. We are watching. And below that, someone had etched the phrase the whole galaxy now feared more than any weapon, more than any fleet, more than any supernova. Redline activated. And somewhere in deep space, Rig Thorne laughed to himself. Not because it was over. Because it had only just begun.